Go for the dazzle.
Well, I'll bring that up as
This is just a typical secret lineup. Like everyone gets their more or less comfort hero. They have a very good balanced draft, good team fight, minus armor for dire side, being able to take Roshan, good defensive play, good initiating, good laning phase as well.
Comfort heroes. Everybody basically on their, if not most comfortable, one of their most comfortable heroes for Secret. And it is.
They saw it coming last time. I think that was their final ban last time.
Paul, I guess we're down to 18, right?
We're down to
18 heroes not played.
Round's already been picked once.
Oh, already been picked once.
Yeah, already been picked once. So still 19, but very close indeed. So first time in the main event. Thank you very much, gentlemen. Let's go down to the commentary team for our final game in the lower bracket between Team Secret and Virtus.pro.
That's right, the early favorites of this tournament, Team Secret, who many had taking that first place slot, is actually down to just one game to elimination. Of course, they're facing up against Virtus.pro, a team that has the whole entire CIS region pride behind them.
I mean, VP aren't slouches. They've consistently been one of the top 5 teams, in my opinion, in the entire world. They play consistent style that's incredibly hard to break. They have one of the most consistent mid laners in Dota. I think a few players at ESL even called them top 3. And they've got a support duo that will rival any, as FNG and Lil. They're active.
Now, Virtus.pro chose to go with almost the exact same draft as game number 2. Very similar playstyle, even with the last pick difference here. Why do you think VP choose to go pretty much the same thing in game 3?
I think that Secret are a team that kind of struggle against the Storm Spirit. It seems like most teams pick Storm Spirit against them, and it works because they pick really greedy cores. They don't like to pick the offlaner that has a lot of control to work with. For example, the Sand King or the Earthshaker, like you'd see an Empire pick. And so the Storm really thrives against that, and they pick greedy supports at the same time. Like, they don't pick control supports, and that really hurts them. And VP, I mean, they've gone for a lineup which is incredibly strong at getting into team fights. They pick Lil, his best hero. They pick FNG, his Lina again. Like, these are all comfort heroes for VP.
And certainly, and this time around, they actually have an insane amount of pushing power thanks to the Drow Ranger last pick that will combo so well with the Visage. All things considered, Virtus.pro, things are a little bit different for Team Secret this time around. They did pick, first of all, they picked a very defensive support in Dazzle. A lot more lane-oriented, a lot more early game focus. VP just going to push Team Secret out here and actually force S4 into a Blink level 1. That's a good start for G, right?
Oh, it definitely is, and it's going to help them out quite a lot. And this mid lane, though, it's still probably favored for the Queen of Pain. Even though you have the Blink level 1, it's going to mean that FNG rotates in and helps G even more. But the Queen of Pain still has kill potential, like we've said before in the past. Once she hits level 6 before the Storm Spirit does, it's incredibly hard to work with. But I might take that back, because Storm has the Precision Aura to work with at the same time. Right. That changes everything.
Yeah, it may not seem like much, but an extra 5 damage can actually mean all the difference in a 1 versus 1 matchup. Queen of Pain is usually supposed to have the attack damage lead over the Storm Spirit, but with that extra bit, VP may have the advantage in the middle lane. They are kind of leaving bottom lane open, though. We're actually seeing Team Secret run a dual lane, a Puppey on the Dazzle, paired up with Zai's Darkseer, pushing very aggressively into the Drow Ranger Visage combo.
This is going to force the Lina down here, and this isn't the most efficient kill combination because there's no setup stun. FNG pretty much just has to guess. He doesn't even have a level of his stun quite yet. You've got the Grave Chill from Lil, but it's not efficient when you've got a Surge on the other side from Secret. So it's really just going to come down to whether or not FNG can get level 2 at a reasonable time, and if he manages to hit the stun at the same time.
Still at the same time, because there is dual lanes, DK Phobos may have an easier time at top lane. He's facing up against Kuro's Rubik and Arteezy's Shadow Fiend, a safe lane farming SF. Specifically, why are we seeing the SF in the safe lane over the Queen of Pain?
I think they would have just preferred the Queen of Pain to get more aggressive on G mid, and it's one of those heroes that is really safe to play with. Like, Storm is really hard. It's really easy to kill, but at the same time, it's incredibly hard for Storm to kill it.
He's actually kind of caught here. Zai's going to try and run him down with the Surge. He's going to pick up the first blood here. Yep, there goes the right click. Now, he will be a bit far forward. Virtus.pro may be able to turn around on him. They need the slows. They're not going to have enough. The Darkseer taking enough to survive through that one. FNG, rather uncharacteristic mistake in the laning phase by him, just being too far forward against Darkseer.
And that's really significant because a Dro isn't farming at all, and she expected to have free farm here, and the Darkseer getting that first kill by himself at the same time is really going to help his progression. Like, he already has the Soul Ring, and this means that he can get aggressive on this bottom lane, and they can pretty much push both supports out of it relatively easily. And Illidan has to keep up in farm with Arteezy because Arteezy getting a lot of farm here means so much more.
Puppey, it's going to be slowed down. Light Strike Array does land. He's got the Shallow Grave and will get it off in time. Virtus.pro are just going to slowly run him down, though. He gets the last little heal, but it's not enough. So despite Secret picking up the first blood, they do already give a kill to Illidan.
And this mid lane, S4, now that he has the high ground advantage, he's really starting to win the lane, and this is going to prompt G to just go for the stack, and he's actually going to miss it, but he still doesn't really want to stand on the bottom side of the hill, because it just means that S4 can go for the dive on him.
So with all this pressure at the bottom lane, it seems like VP have to keep their 2 supports here, but at the same time, we need help in middle, we need help at the top lane. I mean, Team Secret can just leave the SF solo against the Earthshaker, and he can easily zone out DK Phobos.
Yeah, now that he just got 2 levels of the raise, it's incredibly easy for them to set up for a kill. Kuro's just waiting for it right now, and he can be patient, and he can afford to be patient because the Earthshaker isn't really going to come up here to contest the Shadow Fiend. Both of them have boots, but at the same time, it's really easy for them to set up for a kill on DK Phobos, especially when he's using his mana just to set up for the fissure blocks. And at bottom, again, this Dro just continues to struggle to get CS.
So in the end, do you agree with the 2 supports? Every single lane needs help in a way. Do you agree with their decision to put priority on Illidan's farm rather than maybe playing a bit more offensively and going and trying to gank mid or even top lane?
Sort of, because by opening up the other lanes, that means that Puppey would actually have to rotate in, and FNG doesn't get that stun off. But I don't think Lil was close enough for them to follow up anyways. This bottom lane is going to be impossible regardless, because with that Soul Ring that he got from the first blood, he's just going to double Ion Shell and force Illidan back, and Illidan doesn't have the regen to deal with this.
They got the silence on Zai. It will run out eventually, though. He'll get the Surge. FNG is hoping to be able to get close enough for the Light Strike Array. They're actually still close enough for a Cold Arrows. Maybe FNG can land this one. He's going to turn around with the double Ion Shell, go straight for Lil. He's going to be able to pick up the kill. Unbelievable play by Zai, and he's getting out. He health potions up, trying to dodge, turns around, goes again with the FNG. Almost there, gets the kill. 2 for 1 by Zai.
What kind of monster are you, Zai? Straight savage, goes for the double kill on both supports. I mean, you just asked if it was worth it for the supports to stay down there. No, it's not.
Certainly not anymore. And look at this, S4. G is not level 6. S4 has the Invis rune. He's going to start putting some pressure. Never mind. I thought with maybe Puppey coming in from the side, but Puppey actually, this is rather interesting. He uses a ward to block up the hard camp. We don't see this too often, especially this early on into the game, but they know how critical the Storm Spirit's farm is this game, so he's just trying to limit that as much as possible.
Man, that bottom lane though, you even saw Zai kind of fake it out. He's like, do I actually go for this? He's like, yeah, I go for this. I'm going to get a kill. And this opens up the map so much. This means that FNG has to rotate out of it because they no longer want to be in this bottom side of the map. But look at Illidan. He doesn't have any more regen to deal with this at all. And this is going to mean that at some point, Zai can probably just go for the dive on him if he has a TP.
Which means it's going to be of critical importance that Virtus.pro hold on to TP scrolls at this point. But I actually don't see any of their supports. They can't just straight up afford it. That's the problem.
This is not what you want to happen, especially for Alina, who relies on the setup stun for the Light Strike Array. She doesn't have boots quite yet. They're incredibly poor. They're not going to have map vision for a little bit at least. They've still got that ward at that bottom lane, but it doesn't mean anything because Zai being there doesn't really reveal any information, and Secret don't really have to go for the gank at that bottom lane. Like, they can choose to smoke if they want to, but they'll probably move in for this bottom lane and then take the tower.
They're going to try and chain stun S4. They get the fissure. No, they couldn't get enough. S4's actually going to get away. No, the right click is there, and God actually gets the kill. He's run out of mana, though. Little bit of a jump. Can he stay ahead of Arteezy? Another right click is going to bring him low, but they can't quite get it. So critical that VP actually got that kill on S4 and did not lose G in the process, as they're already a little bit down in the laning phase. They pick up the kill and even it up 3-3.
That would have meant so much. I actually don't know how they recover if G dies there too, but they managed to get a ward down here somehow, the Observer ward. blocking out G's camps, and this is going to mean a lot to the Storm Spirit, who's already struggling in this mid lane.
Uh-oh, Illidan in some trouble, actually gets a good silence on S4. They need to try and pop it with a Fisher there. They'll do it! S4, too aggressive. And now, well, Zai, he's going to have to surge away. There's no Fisher block, though, so no opportunity for a secondary kill. But Illidan staying alive through that and getting the kill on S4. Huge. Now he's got a Morbid Mask. He can actually spend some of his time jungling and leave the bottom lane optional for Lil to farm up and get his level 6.
Oh, and mid, they go for it, but
That was close.
G sees it coming, and that's really significant. That's back-to-back deaths. That's really tilting. You use two TPs for that, and at the same time, it just slows you down so much when it comes to farm.
Right.
He was keeping even in net worth with the Storm Spirit, but after that, he dips almost 800 gold behind him at just the 8-minute mark, and this is a lane that in some ways you should still have a decent sized lead in. Like, you can still be at least close to the Storm's net worth, but death after death isn't going to be able to complete it, and that just helps Illidan so much of that bottom lane.
DK Phobos is farming up his Soul Ring, trying to get that sustain that will allow him to full-time jungle. FNG is actually getting a little priority too. He's farming up the Offlane. And obviously, we're trying to get that Laguna Blade ready to go. So they have a lot more kill potential against some of the very squishy heroes on the side of Team Secret. I feel like they're relying quite heavily on Puppey to pull a lot of shallow grave saves in this game.
Yeah, they might opt to go for the mech on Artur at some point, but he might just decide to go for the Yule Scepter to pressure. And at top, they're going to try to chase down FNG.
Turns around, FNG doesn't have the Laguna Blade, but he still gets a combo on RTZ and gets a good amount of damage. Artur, though, does have his bottle ready to go, so I'm sure he won't feel too pressured.
Zai's going to have to turn his hot start into something. He's about to grab a mech of his own, meaning I think RTZ goes for either a really quick BKB. An SNY is probably decent here in this scenario too, if he doesn't want to go for the really fast BKB. A Yule's isn't a bad choice.
Puppey gets spotted out by Lil. Crow and S4 are still here though, so VP, I mean, unless they really feel confident about bursting down one hero with the combination of Fisher, Silence, right clicks, and the Visage nuke to finish things off, but it seems like it would just be better for them to sit back and get their level 6s at this point.
Yeah, and after everything that happened in this bottom lane, this game is surprisingly incredibly close, as G and the Drow Ranger just trail the Shadow Fiend, and you expect the Shadow Fiend to be this far ahead in net worth, and that means the other lanes really had to go better for Secret, and this mid lane, obviously that gank into that dive at bottom wasn't great, and Zai hasn't been able to do too much after that either.
Puppey's got to stay relatively close. He does have the level 2 Shallow Grave, but at any point, they could actually Fisher, Silence, and maybe catch S4 out, but he's actually coming in with his Invis rune. Waiting for that opportunity for a good Sonic Wave initiation. There's still a lot of room, though, for Virtus.pro in the top lane. They haven't actually seen anybody for quite some time, and that's because RTZ is doing a full-time jungle. FNG has had a lot of opportunity to get those levels and gold that he really needs as a support Lina to still be a factor. As you said last game, you kind of want that Lina by about 35 minutes to start performing a little bit more of a core role.
Yeah, you don't want her to just stay really poor, and so they prioritize getting the level 6 on her really quickly.
DK Phobos doesn't have a TP, but he's already into the trees, so S4 can't make that jump. Instead, they're going to go for this tier 1 tower. He's joined now by Lil. They may be able to push back. Never mind. There's no glyph whatsoever, so the tower is going to fall. No attempt at a deny either. Virtus.pro playing it a lot more cautiously.
There's just not enough heroes ready for VP, and DK Phobos isn't level 6. He doesn't have enough farm. There's no way they want to continue to contest that, and FNG, he's just going to push that top lane out, force somebody to come back, and force RTZ to show himself. Like, they're just playing for the information game at this point. They don't really want to get into a straight fight with Secret, with the heroes that they have. Like, the Drow isn't going to really come to a fight just yet. Even if she TPs in, she doesn't have a reliable disable. The slow is okay, but it's not something you want to initiate with.
Right. Why do you think Illidan on his Drow Ranger chose to only go for one ring of a kill? Is oftentimes when we see Drow Rangers, especially with early game pressure, they go for multiple Wraith Bands, similar to the same vein that Super did with his mid sniper.
I think he just felt that he could get away with it, and I mean, it was very clear that he could, especially after they pick up the kill on the Queen of Pain. You can just build more and more greedy, and you just need the Morbid Mask faster, especially against the pressure at the Ion Shells. It's more important that you have some form of lane sustain.
G's spending a lot of time staying in. He's not actually moving around trying to gank too much. He spent a lot of time in his middle lane. Now he's actually doing some jungling. Looks like he's going to be building into the Bloodstone once again first. As for his farm is not nearly as good as it was in game number 2. In fact, he's behind the Storm Spirit right now. What do you do as a Queen of Pain in this matchup when you're behind?
I mean, I still really like going for the Aghanim Scepter, or even the Yules if you're afraid of things like the Lina setup or the Drow Silence, but I mean, this is hard because it's not a matchup that you're meant to be behind in, and so Secret, they go for the smoke, and this is the space creation time.
This is rather interesting. That smoke, as you said, but the kind of curious part is that Illidan is going to try and solo up Roshan while VP go for that 4-man smoke into the enemy jungle.
He might actually kind of be successful with this, but Secret are headed in that same direction, and this is so tricky because they're right next to him, but they might not know. This timing is so weird.
It's all up to Puppey. If he runs down the river and his smoke pops, yep, it's popped now.
Oh,
He actually
this
knows
is so bad for Illidan. He has no idea that they're set up here, but he might actually just thought he's chasing an Invis hero, and they actually just run past it. Yeah, they actually don't know that this is happening.
They think there's somebody in the jungle.
Oh, now he pings it out.
Yeah, he's going into it now. Illidan's already down to 350 HP. It's going to be very simple. Turns around silent. Illidan the TP out. Oh, that is beautiful. He gets away and will not be punished for his attempt at a solo Roche play. Now, Roshan is down to half HP, and Team Secret are actually going to go for it themselves now.
This is so weird because I don't even think Illidan could have done it without the help of the rest of his team. Like, that was just him alone hitting the Roshan. He had 300 HP, and Roshan still had about half, and it was just an odd attempt that I don't know if it could have succeeded without the help of something like Lil coming in with a medallion, which he doesn't have.
FNG perhaps too far forward. Oh, nice turnaround there with the 3-man Fisher. FNG pops the ultimate on the Kuro, trying to finish him off. Meanwhile, S4 jumps in, gets off the Sonic Wave, but God gets the kill first. Now FNG lands the Light Strike on Zai. Good Grave, keeping him alive. He turns around with the wall on top of Arteezy's ultimate, just trying to push back a VP. But Virtus.pro, again, giving a lot of respect to Team Secret, not charging forward, not trying to take advantage of that small...
Arteezy, he no longer has the ult.
He's not actually blocked out. They still get hit by the Light Strike array. He will be able to get around that one, and Lil is just kind of stuck in this channel with the wall on top. He goes down to the Arteezy raise.
And that's the power of the Kuro Rubik as he steals the Fissure, and that was the game-changing Fissure seal right there. Is that might have gone terribly wrong for them as they were really grouped up to kill Arteezy, and the mech was already used by Zai. Not a whole lot of support from there. The Grave, I think, was used for Zai at the same time, too. So Arteezy might have just gone isolated out, but still, I mean, you're losing S4 in all of these trades, and he's not really gaining any net worth. But at the same time, G just gets closer and closer to that Bloodstone. And like I talked about, Secret don't have a real natural storm counter. Their lineups often don't, and at some point, you're going to just have to confront the fact that G's going to get a really quick Bloodstone, and S4 blinked.
He just blinked right into DK Phobos. They had the Echo Slam if necessary, but it's not. With Familiars there, they easily chain stun it down, and G is now in a killing spree, bringing you that much closer to the critical Bloodstone that you were talking about. Oh, Kuro, he's going to be blown up by FNG as well. It's the Light Strike array to lead things off, and had the Laguna Blade ready to go.
And everything right now just falling apart for Secret is... That was just such an unlucky blink. He had the vision up here, but didn't have the vision in the river, and that's going to lead to a kill. And I think this is going to mean a Roshan for VP at the same time. The Queen of Pain just doesn't have the farm to challenge it. Her Sonic Waves on CD. You don't have a BKB on Arteezy, so a lot of this fight is going to come down to Zai's initiation. Arteezy decided to go for the stats build. He wants to play for the mid game, and this is going to be really hard for them to challenge.
It still seems to be Virtus.pro a little bit scared of the tier 1 tower still being up in that bottom lane, especially with the blinking hero like the Queen of Pain. There's just such a rapid response time that they back away from Roshan and instead are going for a 5-man smoke, a much safer play.
Oh, Secret go for their own 5-man smoke, and both teams are just angling for the high ground position.
And Team Secret, maybe the ones who get it here, they're on the Radiant side. Double staircase is going to be a killer if VP try and back out to the jungle. G, he's the first one. He actually goes for the SF, jumping in, trying to take out Arteezy immediately. FNG moves forward, gets one of the nukes, but Arteezy still looking decently healthy. God really wants to go for it, though. The Familiars are chasing him down. We'll be able to get a double stun there. DK Phobos come charging forward. S4 actually going for FNG in the background. He does not have a TP, but it's still S4 not wanting to push that too much. A little bit of skirmish back and forth, but nobody dying just yet. It almost looks like Team Secret actually want to pursue Virtus.pro. VP thinking about the turnaround here. God still has plenty of mana. Over half of his mana pool is up, and he still has the Soul Ring, rather.
It's just so hard for them to kill RTZ right now. Even if they overcommit for that, the Grave's almost always going to be there in position. If you notice that when they got split up, Puppey just hugged him at all times. He doesn't care about S4 at this point. It's just about keeping RTZ alive, and that mech solely used for RTZ, that Grave solely saved for him as well. It's going to be really hard to bring him down when he's got 1200 HP, a magic stick, and all of that help to come with. And this is going to mean that the BKB is probably next for him. And once that happens, I actually think Secret are in a really good position to take fights. Like, they're still up in net worth. Even though the kills are in favor of VP and the Storm is getting a little bit out of control, they have a lot of ways to deal with it just because RTZ is, I mean, he's pushing them across this game with 9,100 net worth at 17 minutes compared to just the 6.4k that Storm and the Dro have.
Yeah, it's natural for an SF to stay more farmed than the enemy cores. He's probably one of the faster farmers out there, but the dramatic difference is impressive from RTZ. Ooh, that's an Illidan double damage. Still trying to go for that Roshan. They're chasing down FNG. They will be able to get the vacuum. Sai is actually stunned up. S4 pops his own ultimate. FNG somehow still alive here as Team Secret swarm forward. Telekinesis on the drone rate. Actually puts him on the cliff, and it's huge. Illidan actually gets the silence out to be able to stop some of this aggression, and now they need to get him out of those trees. He'll actually just TP out. Somehow there's only one kill for VP, and Team Secret didn't get anything out of that. But at the same time, Team Secret are still stalling up that Roshan.
It's just such an awkward engagement for both teams. VP, you're starting to see the effects of what I did at that bottom lane even now. Because Lil at this point in the game normally has at least a medallion, but it's 18 minutes in, he's just working on Tranquil Boots. He even buys a Mango just so he has enough mana to stay in these fights, and FNG isn't doing it any better.
We have a lot of 5 versus 5 happening right now, but Illidan still chooses to go for the Shadow Blade. More of a pick-off item, may not be that useful in team fights later on into the game. Why do you think he went for this item choice over certain more stat-based builds? We've even seen S and Y before on Dro Ranger. Early BKBs are always picked up on Dros as well.
You can just continue to pressure the Queen of Pain, for example, and go for the solo pick-off on her.
Right.
You can do what he just did right there, which is invis into the Roshan pit, and Secret have no idea that this is going on. Like, they might see the birds flying in, but it's not going to matter at this point as it's so low, and this was such a hard-fought Roshan, and she's going to pick up an Aegis with this, and this might just open up the map again for VP.
Once again, the combination for Storm Spirit is coming, the Bloodstone and Aegis, that should allow him to get easy charges, start building up that mana regeneration.
Yeah, once he has that Bloodstone, things become a lot more clear-cut for VP. You can start looking for fights with that Aegis. You can start going for the tier 1s that are still existing on the map. The bottom one is quite low, the top one is quite low, but you probably go for the top one after you go for the bottom one. Because the bottom one is 360 HP. Secret most likely don't fight that because of that Aegis.
FNG pushes out the middle lane real quick, TP's out. Illidan's going to spend his time farming up the top lane. S4 is actually sitting on the side there. He gets pinged out by Illidan, though.
Oh, here's a big pickup right now. DK Phobos gets that Blink Dagger, and this is going to be so hard for them to fight. And again, at bottom, they're just not going to defend this. They're sending people down now, but...
TP, S4 may actually be jumped on by DK Phobos. Decides against it. God's going to pop an Invis Rune, and the deny is there from S4. Despite the double creep wave, he manages to secure the last hit.
Right now, S4 probably working on a Hex. I think this is the best item that he can go for. If you go for Yules, your hero is pretty much useless at this game. You go for that item if you have a kill or two. Going for the Aghanims also probably doesn't do enough. So going for the Hex means that at some point the Storm's going to have to grab a BKB. Same with the Dro Ranger, and you want to force them into that weird situation where instead of continuing to snowball, they have to stop and get a BKB.
Right. Speaking of BKB, Artur has his coming in. That tier 1 tower rapidly dropping to Illidan's push as the Dro Ranger. This is allowing them to kind of keep up with the SF.
Oh, this is such a bad situation for VP to be in, though.
Shadow Blade goes off. Illidan actually gets some distance. Now the cover board gets dropped. The telekinesis is there. Light Strike Array misses. FNG pops his head out. He's trying to get away. Silence actually gets laid out. Illidan hopefully was getting to the trees and TPing out, but there's no way. Team Secret can actually get to there. A big pickoff, even if it does cost them their tier 1 tower.
Virtus.pro. Oh my goodness, it actually looks like they want to still fight this one with the initiation from DK Phobos. This would be a pretty crazy choice by them to try and 3 versus 5. And sure enough, they do back up.
I don't think they necessarily had to go for that top push either, though. They showed 2 of their heroes in the mid lane, 1 of the heroes in the bottom lane, meaning that Mac, VP can't send anybody else up there. There's only 1 tier 2 tower, not enough space for them to get there in time, and I mean, they just pretty much fed away 2 heroes. Like, you have to anticipate Secret having at least a Dust or a Sentry ready. They see the Shadow Blade come out on the Drow. They're always going to anticipate that. There's no professional team that will see a Shadow Blade and say, okay, well, let's just find out what happens and hope that he doesn't invis. And I mean, that's just free 2 kills for them, and they want to use this Aegis at this point, though. Yeah. With the Bloodstone, probably going to try to get aggressive, and Arteezy's a really good target here.
Absolutely. DK Phobos starting things off with an Eclipse. They will be able to chain stun and instantly pop Arteezy. The use of the Laguna Blade has got to be all about that Shallow Grave from Puppey. They did not want to give that support the opportunity to be able to save SF for 5 seconds and let there be a turnaround for Secret.
From behind.
He jumps in. He's going to be able to get the silence on the Puppey, and they do easily get the kill thanks to the Fisher. And it looks like with those 2 pickoffs, they should be able to get this tier 2 tower. Team Secret actually going to go for it, vacuum up. Sonic Wave, instantly taking out 1, and second is Zai, runs him down. God turns around onto S4. They will be able to pick up that counter kill. Kuro's up next. God, oh, what a ball lightning steal from Kuro. Actually gets away from the Fisher. And now they're actually going to push VP away from this tier 2 tower because of that. Well worth the trade of S4's life.
I think Kuro was fine there, but by stealing the ball lightning, now they have better ways of initiating. It's just a good ability for him to steal because he's got such a low mana pool to work with, so it doesn't cost too much. I think the activation, it's us 78, so that means he can probably go from tier 2 to tier 3 relatively safely, and this is going to make it really hard for VP to lock him down.
Once again, Lil's going for the medallion into Solar Crest. Couple of items here. FNG doesn't have a whole lot of item progression just yet. That'll probably come with the tier 2 towers falling. DK Phobos is actually going to go for a 4 staff instead of the Yule Scepter he went for last time.
I kind of think this is cool by Kuro, though, because he can actually catch Illidan really easily. He walks into Illidan, blows the zip, immediately lifts him, and then just makes sure that Illidan is spotted for the rest of his team.
Puppey is actually in a very dangerous position right now. He was trying to get some aggressive vision up. TP out, but God is there to get the pull. And the Fisher on top of that. That's just another charge for the Storm Spirit. Even if he couldn't use his Aegis earlier, he still has 11 Bloodstone charges.
It's probably okay, though, because you're continuing to snowball, and S4 just isn't really getting anything out of this.
Oh, Kuro, he actually gets the initiation on FNG, seals his nuke, Light Strike Array, 2-man Fisher. Kuro is not going to make it out because he traded the Ball Lightning for the Dragon Slave in order to get that trade-off.
Still probably a decent trade right now, and right now they're going to get some birds out of this.
No, nice pushback. The silence was actually enough to save those 2 familiars until S4 hunts one of them down.
What's really significant for Secret now is they have a good way of initiating the fights. We saw it in the last fight. Zai has his Blink Dagger now. It's going to be so much easier for them to group up. That Roshan pit fight is going to become so dangerous for VP to take with that Blink Dagger available. DK Phobos about to finish the 4th F2. And items. This Puppey drops the Sentry Ward. Illidan walking in and out. This is such a dangerous game that he's playing. The Storm Spirit isn't close enough. Everybody TPing in now.
Oh, Illidan already the Shallow Grave preemptively used by Puppey. Illidan's going to try and TP out. Seconds away. What a familiar drop there from Lil. This is why he is one of the most feared Visage players across all of Dota.
He's just so calm with it. He always knows what he wants to do with his familiars. Saved it to the last second so that there's no way that they can grab him, and great play by him. Jesus about to finish the Orchid, though, and the next Rosh fight, I feel, is going to determine a lot. If you get the Roshan again on G, that means one of your supports is dead for sure. Maybe even S4. But if you can get it on Arteezy, that means you can just kind of power through all the lanes and just give him the Aegis. It's so hard to kill him the first time around. You probably have to blow the Echo and the Laguna Blade, and from there, Secret just get into a fight.
Is G looking at S4, who is going to blink away unless... Oh, God, no! Just half a millimeter away from being able to break down the right tree that would have revealed
The S4 being out. Going back to it, God chooses to go for the Orchid here. Does he really feel far enough ahead of S4 that he's not worried about that Scythe of Ice?
No. He's had that ultimate orb for quite some time. He's died one additional time, so he knows that S4 is still quite far away from it. But, I mean, Secret, they're going for the push right now. I think they feel confident with the Blink Dagger on Zai and RTZ. He has so much farm. He's got a BKB, the Talisman of Evasion. It's going to be incredibly hard for them to take him down.
Which kind of pushes Illidan to this awkward situation where he has to make a decision between MKB and BKB.
I think he has to go for the BKB.
God. Oh, mind games. RTZ, his damage is too much. Gets the last click on the tower there. They stun up Artur and trying to catch up. FNG's gonna lead with perhaps a blind light strike. Yeah, the Fisher chain stunning RTZ down with Laguna Blade on top. Shellgrave does go off, and RTZ will have the opportunity to pop his ultimate. They just need a couple of right clicks to kill him. The Drone Ranger, no, it's not enough. God is actually gonna jump forward. He gets that one as the explosion from the SF actually slays God, but VP and the rest of DK Phobos are maybe in a position to be able to get more. S4 jumps forward, actually kills the Visage. Now DK Phobos and Illidan are gonna try and turn this one around still. The Blink's up in 2 seconds. But he actually has his Blink Dagger canceled by the illusion. S4 is spotted out by the familiars, but they won't be able to get there in time, it looks like. DK Phobos tries to go for the Fisher, but not there, and they actually get 3 for 2 to the favor of Secret. They lost RTZ, but they still managed to pick up God and a couple of supports.
Him getting his ultimate off changed the entire state of that fight, because it just made VP split up. They were afraid. They didn't want to get hit close range to it, and he stayed alive for so long that G had to commit all of his mana pool just to kill the Shadow Fiend. And you don't want to trade in a one-on-one situation like that as the Storm Spirit, because now all of a sudden, if S4 wants it, he has a fully completed Hex.
Yep, he spends the...
Oh, I think you forgot about the change.
Yeah, the Void Stone's still back in the regular base. But he will have it for the next fight. Illidan, meanwhile, he is going to be going for the BKB. He almost has it completed, so he's kind of hiding it right now. I think once they finish up that BKB, they probably go for a smoke, force a team fight, utilizing that 10-second magic immunity.
Yeah, that's a really good chance. I almost feel that G needs one too, and as long as S4 doesn't show himself, this fight's going to be so weird.
Phobos, they're going to jump in on RTZ again. They still have the Echo Slam, but there is a response from Team Secret. They do have the Shellgrave that's going to come in at the last second. RTZ easily survives. Now they're going to go into S4. He actually manages to blink out just ahead of that one. Two-man vacuum by Zai. He's going to be stunned up, though, and they still have the damage. God's going to come in. He looks for kills. Kuro's actually stolen Ball Lightning once again, though. And Team Secret, that was actually so close. I mean, the RTZ barely survived there, thanks in part to the Shellgrave. S4 barely managed to get out with the Blink. And then Zai also going down. Is VP just too strong in team fights?
I think VP actually could have just won the game there if they could have had the Storm Spirit in a little bit of a better position.
Right.
S4 doesn't have buyback. He's got no gold at all. He just completed his items, and they can still win a fight, but it does require that they have to be able to save RTZ, and he has to get his ultimate off in that fight. In that fight, he just held it because he knew it wasn't a full 5-man commitment from VP, so it looked a little bit closer than it was.
There's still going to be, I mean, the butterfly is being built right now by RTZ, but that Solar Crest is still a gigantic advantage that Lil has picked up. Right now, they're using it for taking Roshan. Team Secret actually went for a 4-man smoke. RTZ is going to join the rest of the team, but it seems to be a bit too late. Kuro actually makes the jump in, but it's too late. God has already grabbed the Aegis. Now with the 2-man, DK Phobos actually hit a beautiful Fisher. They've already eliminated one. RTZ managed to get off the BKB. Pops that ultimate. They're trying to go for Lil. Will take him out. DK Phobos, 4 staff away, is trying to get ahead of these heroes. And meanwhile, Illidan will just clean up Puppey nice and quick. DK Phobos stalling up these heroes, managed to get the blink away to the side, and maybe he can turn this one around with Fisher ready to go. Kuro actually steals Light Strike Array, going for the stun here, but he just gets cleaned up so quickly by those familiars. With the increased damage of the Drone Ranger aura, once again, VP, they win another fight and are well set to take an objective.
And now this is a 7-second BKB from the Shadow Fiend, and conveniently enough, this bottom lane is already pushed in for them. They're just going to go for this tier 2 tower, but they can decide to go for more if they want. Illidan's starting to pick up a large amount of farm. FNG, if he wants to go for the 4-staff or the Yules, he can have that at the same time. G's going to get a BKB, and I mean, Kuro's been just such a nuisance for him, but if he gets the BKB and he orchids him, that's one support straight away. You have really good ways to deal with the Dazzle at this point, and it's going to mean that the Shadow Fiend has no other way to survive without the Grave.
Yeah, Virtus.pro, such a large jump up in net worth after that team fight. That's about a 5,000 gold swing from just that fight plus Roshan alone. BKB coming in for God. Illidan's got a large amount of gold. He can choose to go for the MKP if he so chooses. DK Phobos actually going to build into what I believe is a BKB just to make sure he gets off everything he can in these team fights.
Yeah, I think he should definitely go for one here, but this mid fight right now, Secret, they're prepped for it, but they're so afraid. If they lose one more fight, that could actually just mean TI for them.
Right.
Arteezy buys the full butterfly. They don't have buyback gold on anyone that really matters here. Kuro and Zai might have it, but that's about it.
Looks like Tier 2 is Virtus.pro's next objective. Especially with the Aegis, they feel pretty confident that Team Secret is not going to challenge them, but they may be wrong. Team Secret actually go for the 5-man smoke here.
Oh, he
They
actually
see
spotted
two,
Arteezy.
going to be able to vacuum, jump forward. S4, he's going to actually turn around on Light Strike Array. God's going to jump in. They've already taken out S4, pops a BKB, and will literally lift that ultimate. But God, he's now controlled by the telekinesis, has to make a jump away. Staying away from Arteezy, finally goes down, but that's just the Aegis. Arteezy pushed back by the silencer, going to go for the supports first. Puppey goes down, DK Phobos gets off the Echo Slam, he even survives. Just barely, as the tower shots are not enough to finish him off. 4 down from Team Secret, and VP will have that Tier 2.
And G's got a DD rune. The Silver Edge is just completed. He's got his BKB too. This might actually just mean racks for Secret. They don't have buyback on the heroes that matter. Darkseer's gonna buy back, so is Rubik, but they don't have one on the Shadow Fiend. The Queen of Pain is also without buyback, and VP is gonna feel so bold right now because they just have so much of a lead. They've got a 15 charge Bloodstone. G's got a DD rune if he wants it. DK Phobos, no Echo Slam on him, but still, this is quite the lead for VP, and it's hard for them to get rid of this one.
So many fans, analysts, everybody across Dota had Team Secret, if not their first place, somewhere in that top 3, and right now their tournament life is being threatened by Virtus.pro, the representative of the CIS region. An insane story here. VP right now, it's 23-13, 34 minutes in after yet another team fight that is now a 10,000 gold lead for them. 12,000 experience on top.
That's a 10-second BKB for G. Can't stress how much that means in this part of the game. Secret have no counter for that right now, and their own BKBs. You've got a 6-second BKB on Arteezy. S4 is nowhere near another item. He's only got a tier 4 item at 34 minutes, and he's not even close to seeing another one by the end of this game. And I mean, a large portion of how this game's determined is if they can keep Arteezy alive to deal damage, they can maybe still do it, but locking down G at this point is nigh impossible.
It gets all the more difficult when you now have an Aghanim Scepter for the Lina. It's still only a level 2 Laguna Blade, but that is still a significant chunk of pure damage that will be able to cut Artur down to size, even if he has the BKB up.
Yeah, and Arteezy, I mean, he's played so well this game. He's still on top of the net worth charts, but the rest of his team is just lagging behind in that regard. And finally, the Storm Spirit gets ahead. And I mean, Secret are so afraid right now because any wrong misstep is just the game for them.
Yeah. I mean, between, as you said, the 10-second BKB, but also the 15 Bloodstone charges, this guy's got mana for days.
Doesn't have that DD rune bottled anymore, but
all right, here it goes. Team Secret. Got a 4-man push by Virtus.pro right now with God ready to make the initiation at any point. They're going to start with a slow poke and prod at that tier 3 tower. No need to rush things.
I mean, they could just wait for the opportunities right now. Yeah. The Storm Spirit BKB jumps in at any point.
Who's his first target? Does he go for support in the background? Does he go for Puppey and try and eliminate that shallow grave?
Kill the Dazzle as fast as you can.
Okay.
And then blow up Arteezy once his BKB's down.
Fisher pushing back Arteezy, and just seconds. And that's all it takes to bring the tier 3 tower low.
VP hitting the tower. Illidan's going to take this one down real soon, and this is going to open up the map for them. And now Secret have to play so carefully. If Arteezy's out of position, they won't be afraid to just blink echo him alone.
Illidan start moving forward. They do have the counter wards to see him, though. God sitting on the side.
Actually going to jump him. They're going to try and pop Illidan right away. The Fisher is out, but it doesn't hit anything. Meanwhile, God goes for Puppey in the background, instantly eliminating. Arteezy gets hit by the Laguna Blade, but it's still up and fighting. There goes the 3-man with the vacuum wall on top of everything else. AP will lose the fight, and they're going to lose just 3. God has a significant amount of it left. He's got to get over the cliff. He has the suicide. So if he wants to be able to avoid it, there it is, the suicide. 4 down for VP. Team Secret holds in game 3.
I mean, Zai, killer instincts there. Arteezy managing to survive through all odds, and even with the Dazzle dying immediately and S4 being isolated out, those 3 were enough to hold the base, and that's 4 down for VP. And all of a sudden, Secret's hopes are still alive.
SF back on top of the net worth board, 18,500. Still, the Storm Spirit and Juro Ranger are trailing them. It's still a gigantic net worth lead for VP, even after that lost team fight. But it is going to shake their confidence for the next time they choose to push uphill. Zai, as you said, pretty much made that team fight for Secret. Feels like they're going to have to wait out the next Roshan and get the Aegis. And is this next one going to be Cheese as well?
Yeah.
So
if you remember, the first one was really early on, and the second one they had the Solar Crest for it, so
this could be a significant advantage for VP if they want to wait out Roshan, but this obviously leaves openings for Team Secret just to sit back, farm up, or maybe even get aggressive on the map.
I think you don't. If you sit back and farm up, you know that VP are just going to wait for the next Aegis. I actually think they might decide to play proactively before that point. Illidan's about to pick up his MKB, and everybody from VP has pretty much all the items that they could possibly need. Maybe lacking in levels a little bit, but that's pretty much it.
So wait for the potential spawn time of Roshan, go for a 5-man smoke as Team Secret, and see if you can't get a pick off that allows you to take Roshan yourself. And if you get that Aegis, that means VP very likely to wait out the full timer of the Aegis, and that just gives you so much more time to farm up on your heroes.
I don't know if Secret can win a fight where VP have essentially 7 lives. Like if G gets an Aegis, I don't know how they take him down twice. He should be able to just initiate in and kill 2 heroes by himself instantly in that case. Because it's just the fear of not being able to get out with any mana that's scaring them right here. In Secret, I don't know if they see this coming. They're all grouped up behind S4, but
they're going to go into
setting the trap.
They're
going all the way around.
They've already laid down a ward. They're going to sneak their way around.
Secret have no
Team
idea.
Secret, they could be totally caught by this one. They're relatively grouped up.
They should have seen FNG
here. They
here.
do have some vision, yep. Right down there by the river.
They're going to run into Puppey first. He's already gone. Down and out. The vacuum managed to catch out 2 with the wall on top. Lil, though, instantly response. Great familiar top of the Echo Slam on top. DK Fomos takes out 1 already. Now Zai and Arteezy. They have a response, but Zai goes down as well. Laguna Blade, vintage Nuke Arteezy against the world here for Team Secret. He's got to pull this out, but DK Fomos, he survives. Guy gets the kill, and VP win it. They keep 2 alive and wipe Secret.
And that was just all G. He clears up that backline completely by himself, instantly killing the Dazzle, killing the Rubik by himself. Arteezy has no support there. And Arteezy needs to survive, but he also needs the disables of his team. Like, if that Rubik dies, no way to win the fight, honestly. And Zai, I mean, he tried his best right there, but it was just VP with a little bit too much.
The Lincolns is coming in for the Storm Spirit. This is going to be big. No longer has to worry about that telekinesis, at least not as much anymore, and that's been... Kuro's really been on the mark there, trying to control G every single team fight he jumps in.
I would actually prefer him to go for the Hex, because I don't think it's enough for him to just dodge the telekinesis. He's got a BKB to work with at the same time.
Right.
It could just mean that he wants to get rid of the spell steal option, but even then I think that's a little bit weak. Going for the Hex here might secure him the game. Secret won't lose too much though off of this. It's not like VP went for the immediate push or anything like that. It's more just you lost a lot of heroes, gave up net worth, and Storm Spirit gets more Bloodstone charges, but you're already in that situation anyways.
Yeah, you probably lost control of Roshan at this point in time because Arteezy's still down for 10 seconds. If VP go directly into the Roshan pit, they have so much physical damage, they will just chop Roshan up. And Team Secret again will be left into that very precarious, do we force a fight outside of our base and potentially lose the whole entire game? So as Arteezy revives, Roshan dies.
Yeah, now that Illidan, he was so squishy before and he had a hard time surviving, but he's got this Aegis. You've got a cheese on your Storm, I believe. Yes.
The difference between the two there, I mean, it may feel very minimal for some, but why Aegis on Illidan and cheese on God?
Because there's almost going to be no chance where Illidan gets to get that cheese off.
Right.
And there's no real situation where you can really guess, okay, I'm at 200 health, do I pop in now? If you're at that range, you're probably dying if you're Illidan. Whereas the Storm, you just want the mana to work with. It doesn't really matter what your HP pulls at.
Yeah, he's much tankier, 2,400 HP on him, plus he has both a BKB and Lincolns. It would be very surprising if Team Secret were able to burst him down
take this so quickly.
They really do. Team Secret Do they stall this one up? Do they just give up their laner racks? I mean, if they do, it's going to be VP just marching down middle immediately afterwards. VP actually only take the range racks and now back up.
They're just being tentative right now. No team really wants to give this away, and VP, they recognize that Secret can definitely still beat them in a fight. That top fight proved it. The one at Roshan Pit was way too close for comfort, barely living with 2 heroes. If Arteezy had gone a little bit luckier with the butterfly procs, that might have gone the other way, but he now picks up his crit.
Luck won't really be a factor for Arteezy soon, at least not against the Drone Rangers hits anymore. Jump forward, they're actually going to try and quickly take out the melee racks. This is a nice move from VP, essentially trying to move Team Secret around to get that free opening, but they still managed to get a nice 3-man vacuum wall on top. FNG almost eliminated to start things off, but he managed to get everything anyway. Arteezy gets off a great ultimate. G in the background is still good for Puppey, but a clever kick keeps him alive. They actually don't get anything out of that one. S4 forced into a buyback though. Still, Team Secret couldn't actually really capitalize on that. I mean, you look at Virtus.pro, they're all incredibly low, but it's just fear of the cheese and Aegis turnaround that keeps Team Secret inside the base.
Yeah, and there's no reason for them to continue to pursue that. You're so close to your base. If you lose that fight, you could just end the game right there. And VP are happy to just get away with 1 death and the buyback on the S4. Definitely still a net worth win for them. They're just, all right, that line was drawn by FNG. That's probably the don't let them pass here. And
right.
The MKB is now flying in, and Arteezy, it's going to be so hard for him to survive in these fights.
So that butterfly evasion, no longer going to be a factor for the Drone Ranger anyway. Let's see, what else do we have here for the side? Aghanim Center is actually coming in soon for Lil, plus the level 3 familiars. That's already a significant upgrade, but when you have a Drone Ranger on your team, that's an insane amount of physical damage.
Arteezy's probably got the item that's going to help him the most. He's fully completed his Satanic instead of going for the buyback. I think this is the correct choice. Even if he respawns, he's only got 16 souls, and at that point his team's lost anyways. So by just going for the full-out item buy, you say to yourself, okay, let's just play for this one fight. And the Queen of Pain doesn't have a buyback too, and she's the one core that deals damage with you. So you might as well just all in for it at this point.
Especially since the fact it's unlikely that VP will be able to chain stun him and bring him down from 100 to nothing with the Shallow Grave always sitting behind him.
FNG does have that Laguna Blade level 3 ready now, though, and I mean, this is VP's game to win. They push the tower so quickly. All it takes is one mistake from Secret. If they lose any of their cores at this point and VP don't, it's going to be really difficult for Secret to win.
Looks like they may try and go for another opening on that melee racks in the top lane. Jump forward, start ticking it down. Kuro takes away that Lincoln, Scythe of Ice to follow it up. God, he needs some help here with the vacuum over the top. They actually force out the cheese.
Oh, this is so bad. VP now know that everything from Secret has been expended. That vacuum wall was a large reason why the fights were able to be won. The BKB was used on Arteezy. So was the Hex by S4. All they have to do now is go for this mid lane, ignore the wall at top. And I don't know how Secret hold this without either of those spells.
They still have S4 and Arteezy's ultimates. They're going to need some great vacuum initiation, but you can see VP just leaving Illidan on the front lines right now. He has the Aegis anyway. They know as long as they don't get grouped up in bad vacuum, they should be able to take this lane of racks. Illidan, pushed back by Arteezy. Once again, they grab a range Rex.
VP are so tentative right now. They want to make absolute sure that this game is out of reach for Secret. Continuing to just prod and poke.
So much money, so much pride on the line here for VB. They cannot afford any mistakes.
Here we go.
Start beating Arteezy, jump in, by God. Illidan is already losing his Aegis, but S4, he's in some serious trouble. Looks like the Shallow Grave keeps him alive on the side. We have a 2-man vacuum. DK almost pops his BKB and gets away. Arteezy now pops his own Satanic, and he's actually fighting up against Illidan, but is now being chased away with God, taking away the Dazzle in the background. There's going to be no more Shallow Grave anymore. S4 gets some damage out. They manage to Scythe of Ice up the Drone Ranger, who's down to only 600 HP. They're trying to jump in. Illidan, he's actually going all in. He has to fight up against Sai, who's going in for these kills. Will be able to pick it up. Echo Slam misses out. Laguna Blade turned around by Kuro. There goes DK Phobos, but no, so too does S4 fall. Now they're turning around onto Arteezy. He can't afford to die here. This life shield's not going to be enough. He goes down. He does not have a buyback, but the group up at the vacuum. It's actually controlling him. He's got to get Illidan. He managed to get the wall hit. God makes the jump away, but he will fall as well. Sai keeps Team Secret in this for a little bit longer. FNG, he keeps on going, managed to pick up the kill on Kuro.
I mean, Zai this entire game, 10-5 and 11, doing his best as a Darkseer, but it's still only a Darkseer. G's gonna respawn in short time. They've gotten the range racks and the melee racks to top. The mid one might fall soon after. They've got a Dazzle up, but that's about it. No buyback on the Shadow Fiend. The Queen of Pain is in a similar situation. Still hasn't picked up an item since that Scythe of Ice. The Rubik has a buyback, but how much does that even matter for you as FNG, with the help of the birds, G's right behind him. I don't know if Secret can defend this, as they're gonna lose 2 racks almost certainly.
Yeah, God actually jumping forward now to go for that tier 3 tower, which has no HP whatsoever. Glyph is pop, but God's still gonna pick it up. Curl is forced to expend his buyback here to defend against this scary core. Storm Spirit's working on the range rack, the Familiar's on top. They're left with just one building at this point. Team Secret, 1,500 HP on a melee barracks. That's all that separates them from staying in TI and getting knocked out by Virtus.pro.
You've got to be real nervous right now because one lost fight is going to make all the difference in VP. If they save for buybacks, they can pretty much just keep marching down that racks and then just play for the defense game. As Secret only have one hero that can really deal with mega creeps.
S4 is going to try and push out this top lane. Look at that. FNG just rolling in the items now. Vlad's and Mech being picked up by him. Satanic for our Draw Ranger. There's the kind of sustain that Illidan really needed in that last fight.
Everybody from VP is actually just completely buying out right now. They're just not afraid of Secret anymore. They just feel it's one fight away from them taking the game. Even if Secret win that fight, they don't think that they can do it without losses.
DK Phobos is actually 1,000 gold away from the Shivas as well. Just listing item after item that Virtus.pro are picking up, and Team Secret don't really have anything that's going to change the course of these fights. In fact, you look at S4, he's operating on just the same Scythe of Ice that he's had for some time now.
Yeah, and G just continues to snowball on items. He's almost got enough money for his own Scythe of Ice, and once he gets that RTD Satanic, it's not really going to be able to do much. They've got enough crowd control for him at this point in the game. Secret afraid to leave their base right now. Not a whole lot of risk that they can take at this point. They don't have the smoke as well. They're just kind of holed up in here and waiting for VP to do whatever they want. And VP, they might even just wait out this next Aegis.
I mean, even if you suicide for it, VP should be able to get that last melee racks and force mega creeps. Can Secret actually turtle inside their base against mega creeps? You said they only really had one good hero against it. Can they actually just hold out against mega creeps, or do they have to immediately go for the rebuttal and 5-man down mid?
I think you just go for the rebuttal and 5-man down mid, but that requires you to keep at least 2 of your cores alive, and one of them has to be RTZ at this point. He has buyback now, so this next defense is going to be easier, but it's just all about the mega creeps right now. VP, this is going to be a sick timing for them as the Glyph is on cooldown for 2 minutes. They're about to take Aegis at the same time. This is going to be so hard for Secret to hold, and they're not even going to bother attempting the
advantage after advantage being racked up for VP. Aegis for Illidan. She's being given over to FNG. They have so many items, in fact, they can wait out if they really want to.
Oh, they're smoked up.
She's got a Scythe of Ice coming in. The smoke
Secret
from the Roshan
is going to have the initiation. RTZ's the first target. Target number 1. Echo Slam being placed on him. He pops the Satanic and now turns the fight. Let's lose that ultimate. Secret are actually going to lose. S4 here. The same goes with Kerr. Good Shallow Grave save. S4. Oh, one vacuum out. Zai lets that up beautifully. Managed to get the wall on top. And VP are actually losing some of the heroes. Aegis being popped. G, he's actually going to go down here trying to control RTZ. They're going for the kill. Illidan, he needs it desperately. But he's taking control. RTZ gets alive. The Shallow Grave goes. He stays alive. God comes back. He needs RTZ. He gets the kill. FNG hold up against Zai, but they manage to pick up Zai instead.
Oh, the
Secret are forced into the buyback. That's going to go in. He's trying to get Puppey as well next. Will easily be able to get this kill. No Shallow Grave. This means RTZ. There's a buyback from Puppey, actually. It's 2 versus 3. RTZ, he doesn't even have the souls necessary.
Luckily for them, though, there's not a whole lot of mana on G, and that was a miracle hold for them as the Storm Spirit is forced to buy back just to end RTZ's life.
RTZ caught out. He's being chased on here. He cannot go down. down. Pops a BKB, Satanic healing back up. God's actually used most of his mana. He's in some serious trouble with the Mighty Armor. He goes down, he actually suicides there. He's dead for a full minute. DK Phobos turning things around. They actually managed to get Puppey and FNG. He's going straight for the melee racks. They're going for it. Meanwhile, the tier 4s are being threatened. S4's trying to clean that one up. But if the melee racks goes down, Team Secret chances are over. And that's why they immediately jump on FNG. Control from the familiars is there. S4's actually dropped very low. Melee racks will be kept alive. FNG's trying to get every last bit of damage there. S4, oh, that Fisher almost landing on him. Would have actually killed him. Kuro comes in to be able to defend. Tier 4 and melee racks are both going to stay alive here for Team Secret.
And they're about to get their glyph back up, and successful defense by Secret as this mid tower does dip quite low, and S4 at the same time almost dies to creeps, but they managed to hold on at the same time. Arteezy finally picks up another item. He's got a full Daedalus to go along with that Satanic. And this is actually going to be really difficult for VP to win at this point. It's going to be much harder for them to push, and every single time they fail that push, it becomes so much easier for Secret to just turn it around and march down mid.
Unbelievable. Such a gigantic net worth lead for VP. Aegis, cheese, item after item that VP had in their inventory. The Secret were lacking, and yet they still could not finish out this game. And the next fight's going to be even harder if they want. Does VP still go for it? Or do they have to wait out their buybacks? I mean, it would seem like if you win for the fight now and lost it, it would almost look like a throw in that you don't have buybacks. Secret then push out and maybe take even a racks of their own.
It'd be, I think you might still go for it and try to apply pressure because you know that Arteezy still doesn't have the buyback, and they're just trying to do some tricky stuff with the birds here.
Those damn familiars. The flying rats that they are actually chipping away at that melee racks. The regeneration is not enough.
Oh, they might actually just take
oh my god, the familiar's almost getting down. God's actually getting mid for it. Pops the BKB. The glyph is keeping the melee racks alive. 250 HP. God is forced to retreat.
He went in way too early. All he had to do was wait.
They're being threatened. Arteezy really wants this kill. He knows God is low on mana. The Fisher will stall him up, and they drag the creeps away. Arrow making sure to pay attention to that one. Keeping those creeps away from the melee racks.
Important thing too is that they're keeping up ward vision at all times.
No, vacuum to stop him.
Courier too.
Lil's gonna be caught. There goes the courier. It ends up being dropped. Now the S4 actually jumping forward. They're trying to get DK Phobos. Pops a BKB, turns around Fisher, but S4 is there with the right clicks. Never mind. He actually got chain stunned down. FNG goes for the kill. He gets S4. A buyback immediately comes out. S4 has to pay attention to this melee racks. Illidan was already pushing down that bottom lane. Secret playing this game on the edge of a knife right now.
They have no ward vision for him. He's just going to plink down on this tower. They don't have
going
anymore.
For melee racks. It's actually going to fall. The last right click is there. Illidan gives up his life, it seems, to be able to get the mega creeps. Now they're actually jumping forward. Puppey's going to go down to God at the same time. Illidan will be right clicked down by S4 and Arteezy. The racks, though, is all gone. The tier 4 is gone as well. The throne is exposed. VP, they can feel it. They can feel this wind underneath their fingertips. They actually back themselves away, looking at the throne, thinking we don't need to go for it just yet. We wait out the Drone Ranger. She still has buyback. Lit Secret have to fight against Megas.
All they have to do at this point is be patient. This is their TI hopes on the line. They're about to knock out the favorite of the tournament right now, secure themselves even more money. All they have to do is wait it out, don't overextend, and wait. Arteezy actually in this mid lane.
He's too far forward. Once again, Shane stun. S4 comes in to try and pull by R2. Can't go down. BKB, Satanic popped. He starts healing himself up. VP, quick on the retreat. Arteezy actually getting stunned up. God, he's going to be able to jump back in. There's no BKB, no Satanic. This life is final. Arteezy, he's going to be dropping here to God as he just fully commits for this kill. Gets it in the end. Artur down for 2 minutes. VP, they're moving forward. JB, well played. Secret call it. VP have eliminated the fan favorites of this tournament. And they will move on to face up against LGD in the losers bracket.
And they just look so ecstatic right now, and they should. They just played such a great game. They risked it all multiple times at that Roshan fight. Great calls by FNG, their captain. Virtus.pro move on. Such a well-played